to get started with you two, we would like to talk a little bit more about that topic, security. What does security actually mean?
Good question. Rod, did you want to jump in first, or?
Well, let me do the easy one, right? Because in its most basic form, security is protection from harm or resilience against harm. And that harm can be from people, that harm can be from non-state actors, or that harm can come from our surroundings.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And we're living through, one of the most disruptive event of the last 100 years.
Exactly. And as you mentioned in our introductions, we both have a background in national security in the U.S. national security establishment. So it bears mentioning here that the concept of security as a national security issue evolved in the United States since World War II, and specifically the paradigm we have today, I should say, evolved, in the aftermath of the Pearl Harbor attack, the surprise attack by Japan on Pearl Harbor in 1941. And so the resulting sort of defense of the realm concept, meaning defending the nation against the attacks, potential attacks of foreign state aggressors, was sort of the operative principle for national security for decades that followed. So the idea there was to avoid the recurrence of such a surprise attack and to defend the nation's territorial sovereignty. Even after the end of the Cold War, this paradigm sort of overhung the understanding of national security, and it's also influenced Western democracies' ideas of security. So when you kind of pair that with what Rod just said, I think you can start to tease out, some of the tensions and differences in, how the concept of security is actually applied at a nation state level. Since, based on what Rod just said, security itself is a much more diffuse and larger concept with many meanings depending on which fields you consult.
So speaking,
And I'm sorry.
go ahead.
Well, I think it's an interesting, we could sit here and talk about national security, for a long period of time. But I think it's an important thing to talk about. And it's not just U.S. national security, of course. Every large nation has a national security doctrine and architecture. Both Carol and I have publicly spoken about the need for security agencies to rethink how it approaches and how it addresses national security in order to really match the security threats that are being presented currently and in the future.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so and I know Rod agrees that we're at past a point really, where we needed to really rethink of what we mean, not only by national security, but global security and any of the types of security, human security, in the context of an Earth system that's been radically altered by human activities. But before kind of we leave the idea of the definition, I wanted to mention that one definition that resonates with me is freedom from fear. And fear itself is a tremendous vulnerability from the point of view of national security. And stoking fear is a known weapon of choice among authoritarians to keep the public submissive and compliant. So if freedom from fear would be taken seriously, I would submit that it has implications for a whole range of policies, like economic policies and public health policies, including in the United States. So this really intersects, in my opinion, with this different sort of climate change altered Earth system reality that we're living in right now.
It's coming down kind of heavy, but I'm not shy. Throw my splash to the puddle and I'm feeling fine. I got